what's going on. Let's see. Uh, it is February 7th, and it is time to kind of tell you what's going on lately of what I've been doing. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of fun stuff lately. And it has to do with my Raspberry Pi. So as always, I like to give you updates of what's going on with my channel. But if you're here for the first time watching this on the replay, my name is Patrick. This is Everyday Tech for Everyday People. You saw me in the replay or the countdown, this light, or I'm trying this overhead light here as a hair light. It basically collapsed, so it's not too bad. I didn't have it very well stabilized. This is on actually a boom arm for a mic, and then I put a little light on there. So anyway, as always, I don't think anyone's watching it at the moment right now, but I usually try to go live every Monday nights now, and I was going live last week on Wednesday because I had not been going live, and I just wanted to start doing this up again, and we'll see who joins. But as always, these videos, these live shows are practice for me, and usually a formal video will come out. Excuse me. So last week I did a video on home automation, and usually that leads into another video, right? But I released that video and I did the live show that night. So anyway, this week I'll be doing another review video on some speakers. So check that out. Look out for that on Wednesday. But today I'd like to talk about something I've been playing around a lot, and that is with my Raspberry Pi. So before I do that, just in case someone comes in, I need to let me just get some things ready here. Usually try to get my stuff ready here as far as just in case the chats come in. So let's see, make sure that doesn't affect anything. Good. So I think I have everything set up here. I'm gonna minimize that window here. And so what we're talking about today is the Raspberry Pi, and in particular, one of the fun things I like to do with the Raspberry Pi that I found recently is install different things on there. So last week was a lot of home automation, and this week I am doing something fun called RetroPie. Now, if you don't know what RetroPie is, retro, of course, meaning old. RetroPie is basically some emulators of old machines. So emulators of NES, Super NES, N64, not just Nintendo stuff. They have Sega Genesis stuff. They have all kinds of stuff, Atari stuff back in the day. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And so you can download these ROMs, which are very, it's amazing how when the NES came out, it was like this huge thing, right? These cartridges. And these cartridges, I could probably hold every game possible that was made in the last couple, ever made by NES into probably my, how do I say it, into my micro SD card on my Raspberry Pi. So yeah, as the name suggests, it does run off a Raspberry Pi. And so yeah, I want to go through some of those games. And what I was noticing was that a lot of people love to play these games. And I used to spend hours on these games as far as Nintendo is concerned. I don't know if we ever got we did get a NES as a Super NES. We definitely didn't get to N64. And then I had a Game Gear at some point when I was in college. I had a Game Gear. I remember wanting a Game Gear really badly, so I think I got one in Hong Kong when me and my brother were visiting there back in the day. And so yeah, but today I wanted to do something different. See if I can do this show you some games. And I was on, shout out to my YouTube buddy AJ Core TV. He does a lot of streaming of games, and I told him I was gonna do this, do some videos, and I don't think knew I was gonna do a live stream on this, but he was mentioning some games that he wanted me to play. So yeah, so I am going to first tell you how we're gonna do this, or how we're gonna um show this off. And I'm gonna boot up my uh Mac here, and let's show you some of the things here on my Mac. First, I am going to hide my desktop here. Okay. And then let's see. Sorry. I'm trying to, there we go. Perfect. Is that going to show up? Let's do this one more time. Okay, I'm going to show you my desktop here. It's quite small right now, but what we're going to do is, what you need to do to install this thing called RetroPie is you need, and this is very similar to what we were talking about as far as my see if I can zoom in here. No, I can't. Okay, I don't have that set up yet. But as far as even the last time I did a home bridge, that was and I'm gonna change my resolution here really quick. Display settings, let's scale this down to 720 so it's a little bit bigger. All right. So when I was doing my home automation stuff, I was talking about setting up Homebridge. And Homebridge, you need this particular app called Raspberry Pi Imager. So right now we're doing the exact same thing here, Raspberry Pi Imager. And if you go into here, you choose your OS. This is version 1.7.1. There's a lot of different OSs you can install on your Raspberry Pi, and they've made it super easy to do. Well, the one thing that you have to notice is once there's a category called emulation and game OS. And so I've already done this, but there's something called RetroPie. I haven't played around with Recall Box, but I've installed RetroPie here. And there's, you can even install it on a Pi 0, Raspberry Pi 2 and 3, and a Raspberry Pi 4 and a 400. So this is they have different versions of the Raspberry Pi, and this installs basically the emulator to run these machines. So I can run the Super NES. I can run, how do I say it? I can run all these machines that I mentioned before. So that's really cool as far as that's concerned. But once you do that, then you need to be able to download the ROMs. So you can go to freeroms.com. There's a bunch of, if you just search for free game ROMs, you'll be able to search for those. So once you install that on the micro SD card, boot up your Raspberry Pi, then you need to transfer those games to certain folders on the ROMs. Let me see if I have it here as far as transferring it. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. I think let's cut to my Raspberry Pi here, or my okay, since I am on, should be able to do this. RetroPie, can't find it. Okay, let me search for really quick for my RetroPie here. I believe it's at let's see, Raspberry Pi. Found is it 86? Let's see. And this is, you need to be able to find out where your Raspberry Pi is. see if this will let me. Okay, I think this is a different Raspberry Pi that I have. It is. So I need to. Sorry about this. Bear with me. This is. I have two Raspberry Pis running, two other Raspberry Pis running it right now. So okay, so this is where we're at. This I SFTP'd into my Raspberry Pi, and then what I did was, if you go into the Raspberry Pi folder, you'll have all these the folders for the ROMs, and you have all these different things. You know, Atari 800, Atari 2600, 5200, all these things, N64, Neo Geo, NES. So I've installed a few ROMs into the NES folder here, and there's an SNES folder here. I did Street Fighter. I didn't know which version I should put, so I put all of them. It didn't really cost me that much space of Street Fighter there. I have NHL there. I have different Super NES things in there. So what we're gonna do now, I've already booted this up. This is running on my Raspberry Pi 4, which is probably one of the faster ones you can buy as far as that's concerned. And we're gonna see how this works. So let me switch over. Let me make sure everything is set here. And we are going to do this. So, okay. So if we go into the Raspberry Pi right now, this is the interface that you will get. And it says 17 games available. There are probably different versions of the same game, but this is the kind of interface you'll get. Because I've only installed the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo games, this is what you see. I'll pop myself up. No, I can't do that. So let me do something like this. Yeah. So, actually, let me point you. What you need to do is also, once you go into this, if you don't have a game controller available, then you can't do this. But or I think you can run this on a keyboard, but I have a gamepad that I bought, a USB gamepad that I have it on there. So, and yeah, so, let's see, what am I doing here? So let's turn this off and see if I can say hi to. Is this gonna work? Let's see. It's not gonna work. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. What's going on, Kelly? I know you are starting very soon as far as a certain place is concerned, but glad you are here. And I'm just making sure my chat is working. There you go. So, yeah, we're talking about old games. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is going to date me here. These are going to be games that were there even before you were born, probably, Kelly, which is kind of scary. So, the most classic game that everyone plays when they want to go to like a Nintendo. And so, yeah, so yeah, I'm glad you're here though. So, but anyway, the game that people play all the time, and just kind of a word of warning, I'm not gonna play the audio. I'm not sure how the copyright situation is gonna be as far as these games concerned. So, I think they're okay, but you know, the game that everyone wants to always show off is Super Mario Brothers. So, so it's just loading it up. You know, really these game machines are really just computers. And so things, having these games, they're just little programs. And so this is, just a game. And I was never good at Super Mario, so uh yeah, so I might die in this like first. um and I don't worry, I'm not gonna be playing like games the whole time here, but anyway, I just wanted to show off certain games that we used to play. And I think there was something here. Is there something here that I can do? Yep, see, I remember. So yeah, and then this controller, I'm still not used to this controller, but anyway, there's a lot of games that you can play here. And it's kind of fun, and you just go through these. And I'm not going through the whole setup process here of the games, but it is a lot of fun as far as kind of nostalgia. So honestly, and actually, I'll give you my conclusions after let me just pass this level really quick. Um, as far as doing this is concerned, but yeah, and then I forgot how to do this. Oh, whatever. Okay. And then the way I go back as far as that's concerned is I press the select and start at the same time, and I go back to my emulator here. So that's kind of fun. I have the original Tetris game here. Uh, let me do a shout out to my buddy AJ Core TV. He asked me if I can find a game that he used to play called Winter Game. And so this is the last one I'll do. Take a sip here. No speed runs today. I was always terrible at that game too. Kelly, I wonder if you ever played that original Super Mario Brothers ever. So I'm pretty sure that game came out before you were born for sure. But anyway, this is a game called Winter Games, and it's just, I was trying to play this the other day. You can see how awesome these graphics are. I think this is what they call, like, I think these are 8-bit graphics. So when the Nintendo 64 came out, it's just one of those things where it's how much information, how much graphics they can do. These are like 8 8-bit games. Yeah, you didn't play the regular one because they're like, this is the OG really game. Let's see. I've actually see. I don't even. And the problem is, I don't know these buttons here, so I'm gonna be playing like, oh my gosh, you see me up there, and then I have to like, wow. Wow, and then the more you play these games, you're like, is this fun? Like, so, yeah. So if you can see, I'm like following the map there, making sure I don't tip over, and then I tip over. So, um, let's say no, I don't want to play again. So here is my good friend Ashley here, and we're just playing some retro games. So, Ash, I don't know how if you've ever played all these games when you were younger. So the last game I'm gonna play that I can do somewhat okay is, we're going to Super Nintendo now, and we are gonna play Super Mario Kart. And of course, they've come out with so many Mario Karts since this, but this is definitely the OG Mario Kart here. Can you see how awesome these graphics are? These are better than the Nintendo graphics for sure. This is Super Nintendo. And I'm really bad at this game though as well. Let's pick Toad. Yeah, you play the newer ones with your Switch, and I can imagine them being so much better as well. So, um, but yeah, Again, Kelly, you're way too young. I mean, I'm way too old, is what I meant to say. So yeah. Again, I'm not using the sound here. I just don't want to. You never know what the There's crazy people with copyright out there as far as the music is concerned. Okay, let me concentrate on winning this game here. But yeah, I have these controllers now. I can use the top controller buttons to hop around. You know, if you notice on the regular Nintendo, you only get 2 buttons on the Nintendo and the controller. But this one, you can, you know, do a lot of different. You actually have 4 buttons and then the two buttons on the top right. So, let's see if I actually win this game. Taking the shortcut, and this is not how I drive. So, well, sometimes I have to drive this way in Philly just to avoid things. But yeah, I am getting used to these controllers as well. Let's not trip over my own thing here. Last lap. Let's see. Let's make sure I don't choke here. Keep on missing those things. I see chats coming in, and I'm concentrating too much on this game. But yeah. So replace coins with potholes. Yeah, I keep on avoiding. I'm not supposed to avoid the coins though. So sorry, drinking my LaCroix here. So yeah, that's an example of another game there. So if we I did do it. So I just remember some old, you know, like if we go back to Nintendo, these are the 8-bit games, right? And this is Blades of Steel. This is a hockey game. NBA Jam is not the one I thought it was going to be. Smash TV and Paperboy, they were really fun games. Anyway, I will say, and I'm going to get back to myself here. Okay, so first, let me talk about the controller here. This is like this was like 11 or 12 bucks for a controller. And so many unlimited games. And I could probably use a Xbox controller and play those Nintendo games as well. But you can see this is the Super Nintendo controller. It has the 2 buttons here and the 4 buttons here. If you were playing the regular Nintendo NES game, you would just have none of these buttons and 2 of these buttons here. And that's what we started with. And me and my brother love to just play sports games. So we would like I asked my parents to buy these sports games all the time. So we had hockey, ice hockey, we had how do I say it? We had some basketball game. And so all these kind of games, right? Now, how do I feel about these games? Well, these old games. And I haven't tried any more new games here. By the way, so all the stuff is in the description below if you want to know where these game controllers are. I personally, I'm still deciding whether I'm going to keep this or not. I don't think my kids would be too interested in playing these games too much. I'm not sure. They're not at that age yet to play. But I will say that playing these games, there's a lot of nostalgia for me, reminiscing of these games. But and I did play hours of them, for sure. But when I was younger, but I feel like I can't get into them now, is what I'm saying. It's just so I don't feel, yeah, I don't feel I can't play I get bored of these games like really quickly. I do like more of the more graphical games these days, but I'm not much of a gamer either. And so most of my games that I play are on my phone, and maybe if I find an yeah. So my kids are insanely into Pokemon, and it's kind of crazy actually. So let me fix this thing here. Hold on. Is that better? Let's see. No. I think that there you go. Do I want that? Okay, that's better. Well, That's what I wanted. There you go. But yeah, so they're like they're insanely into Pokemon. Maybe they will be. I did find a Pokemon game, but the thing is, I don't want them to spend hours on it like I did as well. So, uh, yeah, that's that's all they do talk about is Pokemon. But for me personally, I don't have a need to play all these games. So I'm wondering if there's an appeal to other people. Like, oh, can they really play that much? Maybe I'm just old. So, uh, I'm not that old. So, yeah. So that was RetroPie with all these different things. If I can show you again all the games that I had on here. I didn't know which version of Street Fighter 2 I wanted to put on, so I put them all. This was a fun game in the arcade. I spent too much money on that one. Mike Tyson's Punch Out was a classic. Uh, NHL. I used to spend time at my friend Ben's place when there's a bunch of us, and we would play NHL all the time, like until late night, until his his parents told us, caught us, and we had to go to sleep. Um, yeah, so there's just all these games. Anyway, these are just computers here. These are small computers. And so what I'm starting to do is I will be doing a series of videos on, I'll do it on RetroPie, but I'll be doing a lot of different useful things that you can do with the Raspberry Pi. So if you don't know what a Raspberry Pi is, you know what? I am going to disconnect this Raspberry Pi right now. I'm just going to disconnect it. 1 second. I'm not going to play it. Okay. So Raspberry Pi is this, and this is in a case right now. This is a very popular case called the Flirc case, FLIRC. But anyway, Raspberry Pi. This is a Raspberry Pi 4, and I have a bunch of things running. So I have 3 different Raspberry Pis. I have a Raspberry Pi Zero, which is this tiny computer. It's a $10 computer, a $10 little computer, and I got it for free actually from a store that was having this, anyway, some promotion. And then I have a Raspberry Pi 3, and then I have this Raspberry Pi that I use for different things. So what can you use a Raspberry Pi for? I will be doing a series of videos on what you can do up until Pi Day, which is March 14th, which is happening. I think it's a Monday, which I will kind of do a review of everything I did the past month. But what is my Raspberry Pi Zero running? It's running my Homebridge, which I did a video on. So if you haven't seen that, check out my video on that. But it allowed me to do some home automation stuff. So like I could bring in different things like, for example, this is my main light here is my key light. So I can say, Alexa, turn off key light. And it'll automatically turn off that key light. Alexa, turn on key light. So because I have this software running, I can control everything through Alexa or through stop. Let me mute her right now. Or I can run it through my home app on iOS here. And the problem is a lot of devices are of Amazon compatible or Google compatible, but they're not very many are iOS compatible with HomeKit, and Homebridge allows you to bring in things to HomeKit. So that's one use. Another use is I can use it as a travel router, wireless router. So if I'm in a coffee shop, I can hook up to a Raspberry Pi and then have that hook up into the Wi-Fi. So once you use just your device directly to coffee shop Wi-Fi, different reasons. There's security reasons, and then there's other reasons that I'll go into in other videos as well. And then the last thing that I use my Raspberry Pi 3 down here is for as a VPN server. So I can connect to my home network here from anywhere in the world. So sometimes if I'm at work, I'm forgetting something, I can log into my home network and then log into my computer here as long as it's on, and I can grab any file I need to do anything. Actually, when I was in California in the summer, I did the same thing. I was able to hook up everything like that. Another use that a lot of people use VPNs for is, let's say I go to another country, let's say Taiwan or something, or Canada. I won't be able to access Netflix shows because they're region specific, but I can log into my VPN and it'll think I'm in Philadelphia in my home network, and then I can log into my Netflix from that way. So there are other uses other than playing games on these things. A lot of people use these things for robotics. Uh, a lot of people use these things to control Christmas lights. They program these things. So I have some ideas that I wanted to do. For example, I wanted to do an on-air light. So, since like at the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was home. So I wanted to let people know I was in a meeting. So I wanted an on-air button. But anyway, thanks for joining, Kelly. Let's talk soon before you're going to be off the grid for a little bit. So I'm going to end the stream pretty soon as well. But let's talk soon. And yeah. So that's all I have for tonight. I hope everyone, if you're watching the replay, hope you enjoyed going back down memory lane with me as far as retro gaming is concerned. I am going to do a formal video on that, on this. I think it's just a fun series as far as doing, just you doing programming these guys. So there's a lot you can do with it, and yeah. Okay, so this week I have a review video coming up on a product, and then I am starting to get back into things like Notion. I have been using Notion every day, or not every day, but every week. And so it's not like I haven't been using it, but Notion, my plugin that I've neglected dearly. So I am doing everything as much as possible as far as trying to get ahead. And so I had this video done last week, or recorded last week, and then I thought I was going to do more videos to stay ahead, but I just got lazy. So anyway, we'll see what happens, and then we'll get there. We'll try to get ahead of schedule. So okay, so if there's anything, I will be doing a video on retro gaming, RetroPie, in the next week or two. So if there's something that you want to watch as far as games are concerned, see how it runs on a Raspberry Pi, let me know. Leave a comment below and I will try to get to it. Try to show it in there, but I will be showing off winter games and maybe Blades of Steel for my buddy AJ Core TV. And anyway, I hope you are never too late, Lala. I was just going down memory lane as far as how we are, just using a Raspberry Pi again. So, yeah, I don't know if you played Nintendo or Super Nintendo, Lala, or if your kids play any games as well. So I'm sure they probably do. So, and also if you haven't checked out Lami Lala's channel, please do go check her out. She does a crafting video. It's just a fun time. Love hanging out, just watching them do different crafts. Even though I don't do them necessarily myself, but it's just so there is an Atari emulator on there. So I don't remember playing too many Atari games. I know my little older cousins were playing them as well, had them as well, some of the early ones as well. But yeah, so of course I do want you had them. I am not surprised. And yeah. One thing to note, for talking to you, Mommy Lala. Like, I do want to get you on one of these lives one day, and I just kind of do want to. I kind of want to do kind of an interview of your YouTube journey as well. I'm. It's gonna be like a Sammy Superstar. Sammy Superstar inspired stream as well. So, um, you're not that much older. I don't think so. Um, and you still look very young too. So, um, anyway, I am going to end here before this is going to be the end as I start rambling on. So, I hope you are all doing well. It is great to have you all here. I'm trying to get my YouTube juices pouring again, and we'll see what happens here. I don't have any outro music, so I am just going to go mute myself, fade to black, and stop the stream. So, good evening, all. Good morning, wherever you are. Good afternoon, and we'll talk soon. See you later.